YouTube, it's Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters here again, and today I have a quick little demonstration video for you guys, and what I'm going to show you here are the Mothman VSTi synthesizers, and these are some Windows-based VSTi synths that I actually made probably about 10 years ago now already. Like, it's pretty crazy. They're pretty old. They'll run in Windows, as well as they run perfectly fine in Linux under Wine, and I've tested them in Reaper and many other programs in Linux. LMMS, they work. So you can use them in Windows or Linux. For right now, I have this one. This what you're looking at right here. This is the Mothman 1000 synth, and I have this one open in Windows right now in Ableton. Now, these are 32-bit synths, because like I said, they're pretty old. But in order to use them in 64-bit version of Ableton, you can use this right down here if you see my cursor, which is called JBridge. JBridge is a cool little plugin that you can download. It's commercial, but it's not very expensive, and it's very worth it. And it allows you to use 32-bit plugins on 64-bit software like Ableton 64-bit. Now, if you're using Cubase or a lot of the other programs, it doesn't really matter, though a lot of them will use 64 or 32-bit and just basically bridge them by themselves. So anyway, just wanted to tell you guys that before we got started. But what you're looking at right here on the screen is the first synthesizer that I made, and this one is called the Mothman 1000. Now, this synth basically has 2 oscillators and 2 amplifier sections, as well as 2 LFOs. And I also call them HFOs because they will not only do low frequency oscillations, they'll do high frequency oscillations, which gives the synthesizer an almost FM quality as well if you set it that way. So what I could do here is go through some of the presets, and the preset that it opens up on is called Smorf, and I'll just play a little bit of it. Now, these Mothman synthesizers are all over a lot of my recordings. I use them a lot, even still to this day. Now, if we go through the presets, I do think I was able to make some pretty good presets in here. So I'll just give you a sample of some of these. So this is one called Toys. And that one sounds pretty FM sounding. And let's move on. This one is called Future Bass. Okay, and I'm not going to go through all of them because there's a lot, and we have several other programs to, or several other plugins to talk about, but I do want to show you some of the cool ones that I like in here. Let's see. We have a couple of drum sounds. These are kind of electronic drums. Pretty crazy sounding. There's one called Casio, which sounds a little bit like a CZ series Casio. Or, I'm sorry, not a CZ series, but a Casio tone. And we have Piano Dream. This one I like. Pretty nice sounding piano vibrato patch there. And then we have Analoged, which is kind of like analog horns. Brass, rather. Okay, so the Mothman 1000, all of these are free. You can download them at the link down below, which is at my website. And the Mothman 1000, like I said, it's the first synth I ever made, and there's several, all the presets you can use. You can also create your own sounds. if you basically you put it on a user patch here and then adjust the parameters however you like. There's an analog style filter up here. So if you want to save that, then you can just go down here to user patch, and then you can just click save, and then depending on which DAW you're using in Ableton, you can just title it whatever you want here and then just save it wherever you like, and then you can just pull it back up in the presets section here by clicking this little folder icon. So anyway, that is the Mothman 1000. So let's just keep moving down. All right, so the second synth that I actually created was this one. It's called the Mothman 1966. And the reason why I called it 1966 was because the Mothman legend, if you're familiar with that, 1966 is the year where people first started seeing the Mothman in West Virginia. So I kind of named it after that, as well as I thought that this one was kind of vintage and just more garagey sounding almost. So I figured 1966 was kind of a good name for it. Now, the way that this one works is actually it's a pretty simple synthesizer. It just has two oscillators, two VCAs, two VCFs, and volume and pan controls, as well as two LFOs. Now, if you're not familiar with what all those are, oscillators basically create the sounds. VCAs are the amplifier section, which creates attack, decay, sustain, and release. VCF is a voltage-controlled filter, and volume and pan is pretty self-explanatory, and LFOs are basically like, you know, affecting the synthesized sound on its way out to the speakers. The way that I made this is there's basically the waveforms, the oscillator waveforms I created in Audacity actually. And so I created 3 custom waveforms that are on each oscillator, and you have a wind waveform, a 8-bit saw, and then one that I called Diamond Wave because of the way that it looked when I created the wave. So I'll just go through a couple of the presets here on this one so you can hear them. This first one is called Morgantown. And that one is, you know, kind of a vintage saw wave sounding synth. And now if we go here to the presets again, a lot of these are city names in West Virginia, so in case you're curious. This one is called Fairmont. And let's move on. We have Strange Lights. Keep moving. Harpers Ferry. And some of them sound more lo-fi than others. That one sounded a little bit more hi-fi. And there's Point Pleasant, of course, where the Mothman was from. Yeah, I like that one. And let's move on. This one has less presets, but again, you can create your own and save them. Let's check out What Was It? Pretty buzzy sounding saw wave there, which is pretty cool. And Sadness of the Fourth Dimension. This is another one that I really like. So yeah, that's the Mothman 1966. So let's move on then. Now the next one that I did was basically a improved version of the Mothman 1000, and this one's called the Mothman 2000, aptly named. But it looks pretty similar, as you can see, as the Mothman 1000, and it sounds pretty similar too. So it has some of the same presets, but some of them actually are a little bit different. They're a little bit expanded upon. Here's Smorf 2, which now has a delay effect on it. So the major difference here is between the Mothman 1000 is now we have a delay section here in the middle, and also this one has a velocity sensitive capabilities, whereas the Mothman 1000 doesn't. So let's look at some of the presets in here too. Some different ones. There's some that are the same, but even the ones that are the same sound a little bit different. Let's check out Casio again. Let's go to Flight of the Mothman. And CZ5000. This is a Casio CZ inspired preset. And there's one in here. Oh, Moth Fisa. This one's kind of like a Farfisa sound. And what else? Where is the one? There's one I'm thinking of that I can't remember the name. Is it Windpad? Let's see. No, but that one's still pretty cool. But there is one in particular that I use a lot, and I can't remember the name of it right now. Maybe it's in... It might be in the Mothman 3000 and not in this one. Let's just check out a couple more presets, and then I'll show you guys that one. Moth Talk. Alright, yeah, that one's pretty cool. Okay, let's check out the final synth that I made back then. This one I definitely spent the most time on, and originally it was a commercial plugin, and it is called the Mothman Z3000. Now what this is, it's actually an emulator of the Casio CZ3000 synth. So if you're familiar with that synth, it has pretty much all of the same controls as the CZ series. They're laid out a little bit differently, but if you know how to program one of those, you will figure out how to program this. So yeah, let's just go ahead and hear some of the examples. The first sound on here is called Alligator. And After Sparkle. I think this is the one I was thinking of before. And the reason why it's called After Sparkle is when you let go of the note, you hear that other note that comes in there. So if I hold down the key, and then when I let go, that comes back. So that one's pretty cool. But that's still not the one I was thinking of. Maybe it's Super Pad? No, I know, but this one is not the one, but this one I've used quite a bit. This one sounds kind of like the pads that I used on the album 1986, where I used a real CZ. And it's very slow, ambient. Takes a long time to reach full volume. It slowly pans back and forth. Now, of course, the real CZ didn't do auto panning like that, so it's a nice enhancement over the original. This is called Sweet Echoes. This one is called David Cronenberg, after the director. Pretty crazy sounding one. And Saw Chorus. Nice for 80s sounds. This one is called Wet Hot 80s. And all right, let's just find one more here. I wish I could find that one I was thinking of, but oh, I think this is it. Sci strings. So it's kind of like sci-fi sounding strings. Yep. This one I have used on a lot of music because I really like the way this one sounds. Little modulation there. Alright, so those are the Mothman synths. They're all free, like I said. You can get them at demonicsweaters.com, but I'll post a link down below too. I also have a lot of plugins there that you can download and sample sets and all kinds of stuff. But these, even though they're really old, I still think they're pretty useful, and I spent a lot of time, especially on this one, programming it. And, you know, if you guys want to make some music with them, go ahead and download them and have fun. So anyway, thanks for watching, and if you like these kind of videos, don't forget to subscribe, click like, bell icon. You can check out my Patreon at patreon.com/demonicsweaters, and I'll see you all really soon. Thanks for watching.